Hello, everybody, and welcome to the new year 2024. Same podcast, same crew, new year. You know the podcast. It's your favorite one that's out there. You guys ready for this? It's called Arcade Parlor.
That was good.
There's still a little bit of work. We're getting there. Close. It's a new year. We're still working on it, though.
We might have to clip that one, and that's the one. Unless we do better. I'm saying that was our best run so far.
You just have a pre-recorded one every time, and we'll just lip sync to it. How's that? We'll just lip sync to it every live podcast we do here.
I'm down.
So pro.
Welcome in to our listeners. Whether you're listening to this on the release that's in your podcast app, or if you're joined us live on twitch.tv/arcade parlor. This is episode 17. The date today is January 13th at 3:46 p.m. Eastern, and we're live on the internet. Can you guys believe that? We're live on the internet. It's about time. Somebody's doing something live on the internet. The technology's been there for years, and someone's finally doing it. It's incredible.
And it's us.
Have you ever taken a moment to think about like how cool that is? Like growing up, I would have never thought we would have the ability to basically not only have our own radio show, let alone a radio show, but like basically we all have our own form of a television show live on the internet. And that is the coolest thing. If you would have told Kid Cheese Pops that that's something that was an option, I would have been like, I'm doing that when I'm older. Like that's the only thing I would focus on. And it is kind of wild that we are live on the internet. We're doing a show together. Ashley lives in Florida. Poncho Taco lives in Alaska. And I live in Hawaii. And it's just nuts that the three of us can all be doing this show together. If you think about it, we don't have to, but you said it and I thought about it. And I'm like, that's really cool.
It's technology. It's there. Let's use it.
I often think like when I play games on stream that I played as a kid, like if I play Sega Aladdin, I think about how kid me would think 35-year-old me is really cool.
Right?
Yeah.
It is cool. I would totally be better than you at Sega Aladdin, by the way. Crush you.
I doubt
it. Wouldn't even be close.
Okay.
Actually, I'm only good at Jafar. Sticky Pops carries me through the rest of the game. And if I'm playing, she's so good at it. She actively yells at me. Like, what are you doing? Especially the third level when you're in the dungeon and like the floors go in and out and you have to time it. If I miss one timing, she just looks at me and goes, what is wrong with you? I thought you played video games. Trash it. Like, just give me a chance to learn. She's no chill when it comes to games that she knows.
I played that for the first time. Right? It was a Genesis version too. Yeah, I played that for the first time. I don't know, sometime in the last year. And I honestly don't remember much. That one went by really fast. I beat that in one sitting. I can't remember what it was. Maybe two sittings. I can't remember, to be honest.
I think it was two.
It had that kind of the old just like Lion King. It had that old like, we're going to make this unnecessarily difficult in certain areas. Not to the degree. Not at all to the degree. It didn't have any of the here's 5 pickup paths and you have to get each one right over like 9 guesses and you can't get a single one wrong. It didn't have anything like that, but it definitely had some moments in it throughout that were quite like, what is this? Like these old games.
That game was like the upset of the century because on Super Nintendo, Capcom made the Aladdin game. As Capcom and it's Nintendo, that has to be better than Virgin Games making Aladdin on the Sega Genesis. And it's not even close. No. Like Capcom Super Nintendo is good. Aladdin Sega Genesis, some of the best graphics on the system. It's fun to play. The tunes are good. It's just a better game. And both games are great. It's just this one's really good.
You didn't even have a sword in the Super Nintendo one, if I remember correctly.
No, you jumped on heads. You got a cool blanket to float down. Your sprite was so much. Graphically, it was a step down. Mm-hmm. It was still a fun game, but it just wasn't as good. And the Magic Carpet Ride is a lot harder on Super Nintendo. The second one, the Magic Carpet Ride, is almost like a bonus stage.
Yes.
Because when you die, you go back and you can collect more. It's almost better to lose lives on that because you can collect like 5 on if you start learning the path and then die and start over. And then eventually it forces you out of it. You can only play it so many times before it skips it. But on Super Nintendo, it's just it's a grind, auto scroller, life eater, and you don't get any lives from it, if I can remember. So it's a lot harder on Super Nintendo just on that stage. But I think the rest of the game is easier on the SNES.
I just, I actually didn't even know that there was a SNES version until recently. I mean, I would have thought that they were the same or something. I didn't realize that there was like such a difference until I think it was when I started playing the one on Genesis. People were like, which one are you playing? And I was like, I don't know. It's on Genesis. Why does it matter? And they're like, oh, it matters. It matters. I was like, oh, okay. I didn't know there was a difference. Apparently there is, though.
Can I open the curtain a little bit for our listeners and our viewers? What's so fun is like before any of these, there's always a little bit of nerves. Like, what are we going to talk about? We all come prepared for like a couple things to talk about. And before we went live, like, are we going to have enough today? And then Ashley's like, yeah, we're gonna be fine. We're gonna end up talking about something ridiculous. At no point was Aladdin on Sega Genesis or Super Nintendo a planned conversation. But we've been live for exactly 10 seconds. Like, do you guys want to discuss Aladdin? It's like, yeah, let's go. Let's go down this rabbit hole. No one's been asking for it. But like, it's so much fun. I think that's why this podcast is great. It's like we just go down these random roads that aren't planned. It's like just video game memories, man. I love it.
We keep a loose structure around here. We keep a loose structure, like keeping the curtains pulled back a little bit. In our little Discord chat, we have like a 7-point outline that never changes every single episode. And we get to at least most of the things on there at some point. Sometimes we're just like, we don't have time. Let's just skip that, whatever. We're not going to do that one this time. But we have our 7 points, and it's just the most basic outline possible. And that's pretty much what we go off of every single episode.
We keep it very organic. Like one of the points literally just says banter. Like we literally plan pretty much nothing, but that's the best part. And then we always end up at the end saying, gosh, I wish we had more time. I wish we had more time. And then, but the fear is always, will we have enough? And we've never had an episode ever where we weren't like, God, I wish I had gotten to like 10 more things.
Remember when Tanuki Dan was on? We spent an hour and 45 minutes discussing banana squishies. Like we were there forever.
Yes.
And I loved it. Banter just did not end that episode. It was so much fun.
I love that you called it a squishy, like, and not a slushy, like Simpsons.
or a Slurpee. It's a squishy.
Look, watched a lot of Simpsons in my day.
Welcome in, everybody. We have 3 people here with us today. We should probably actually introduce ourselves here. Let's go around the table here as we always start here. It's alphabetically because that's just how the video always organizes everybody. We're going to start with Ashley in Florida. Ashley, how are you today? Great to have you here today.
Thank you. Hello, I'm Ashley, Florida. It's great. It's great to be here. I feel for all. We talk about the weather every time we get to meet because we have to. But God, I feel for my friends on Twitch this week. I really do. I feel like everyone's kind of had like a mild winter, and then this week it just dumped on everybody. I have people saying it's -40 where they are, and I'm looking right now, and it is 70 degrees where I'm at. It was like in the 80s yesterday. Like you could go swimming right now, and I have friends who have no power, and it's just absolutely nuts. But I'm doing well. I'm in good spirits, and I'm happy to be here today.
Well, enjoy that weather for another week here. We'll talk about that in a little bit, yes. But definitely enjoy it for a week here. The weather here, what was it? I'm one of those people that have been a very mild winter overall, and then we had like maybe just a flurry of snow like in the morning. But last night, I mean, we didn't get much. Like I had somebody coming into my chat last night, and they're like, "Man, we got 2 feet of snow last night."
Wow.
I was like, why are you living somewhere where you're getting 2 feet of snow? First off, second off, I got like, I don't know, it's 2 inches. It's whatever the height is. Like if I step into the snow, it comes to the top of like my shoe, like the flat part of your shoe comes to the top of that. 2 inches, maybe 1.5 inches. I don't know. We didn't get that much. I still have not shoveled or anything or snow blowed or whatever. It's very crunchy and hard, so I'm not looking forward to that after we're done recording here. That's on my plate. Ashley, great to have you here on episode 17. We also are joined by one named Mike, also known as Cheese Pops. How's it going?
Going good. I am the intern, the the podcast still. I'm working on it. One of these days I will be promoted full time. But the weather here has been good. It's been really windy though. And you guys know like tumbleweeds from like the desert. They're in like every movie. There is literally one on the side of our house that's as tall as me, and I'm like 6'3". Like our house is a vortex for things. We don't have any trees, and yet our yard is filled with leaves, walnuts. I don't even know. There's not a walnut tree this block, but the wind was so crazy. But there is a legit tumbleweed, and I don't know what to do with it. Like it doesn't fit in the garbage can. Am I gonna have to get a hatchet and like? There's like this alley a couple of blocks down that's just all dirt and some tumbleweeds gather down there. I think at midnight tonight, I'm going to make my buddy like grab some of these tumbleweeds with me and we're just going to smuggle them off my property and throw them in the alley. I don't know if that's legal or not. So no one tell anyone I'm doing this, but I think that's what's going to happen tonight because I don't know why these tumbleweeds just all gather on the side of our house. It's crazy.
I've never seen a tumbleweed in person or anything, but it just tumbleweeds seem like such a strange thing that exists. I don't know, something about them. It just like, I mean, like, I don't know. I've never seen one in person. I've just seen them in like cartoons, movies and so. I mean, like, what exactly are they?
I'll take a picture and I'll send it to you. It's gigantic.
Okay. They're also in your favorite game, Poncho Taco, Skyward Sword. There's tumbleweeds.
Oh yeah, you got to catch those.
Yeah,
are they?
To power up your slingshot.
Yep.
That really makes me want to play that game, collecting tumbleweeds. Wow, it sounds great.
Such a hater.
With the whole Wii motion, be like it's like catching them in real life.
Oh man,
done.
You have to admit, pulling that sword out, raising it up, it's a cool moment. You have to admit that.
It's kind of cool.
I've never experienced it.
You're a naysayer right now. You're saying, no, this is not for me. I don't like it. But at that moment, you looked around to make sure no one was watching. You're like, sweet, I'm Link. This is great.
I'm Link, y'all.
I'm Link, y'all, is probably what you said in your brain. You say y'all when you talk to yourself in your brain. You have this southern accent for no reason. You know, just this huge draw. I like that.
It's funny you say this southern accent because recently I've been playing a game on stream called Dave the Diver, and I found that I've had to do accents because most of the time there's not too much dialogue, but suddenly it goes into there's this one, it just went on in dialogue with like 6 different characters. So I started breaking out I was going for it was a farmer, so I was kind of going for I don't know, like a southern drawl, but I kept going in between southern and western without meaning to.
You did?
I didn't know how to switch back once it got into my head. Like I just kept sticking with the one, and then by the next time I spoke as this character, I was suddenly using the other one, and I couldn't fix it. Like I couldn't stay with the one, and there was no way I could manually switch if I wanted to. It's just like when I opened up my mouth, that's the accent that came out, and I was sticking with that for the duration of the character's voice lines. It was it was good. Mike, it's great to have you here on episode 17 here. You've almost been here a year. I think you've been here. I think you joined in April. We were looking at it right before the stream. April was the first official episode of full time being on here. You were on here a couple of months before that, of course. But coming up on your 8th episode, I think 17. I don't know, something like that. But we're coming up on 1 year.
It's been fun. It's nice to have an outlet to rant about video game stuff because I know we're all nerds, and it's even better for the wife who I would go up to before and be like, "Let me tell you all." And she goes, "Let me tell you how little I care right now." I don't want to know about your theories on why. The magical sword in this NES Zelda is more powerful than the Master Sword because I don't know what that is. Leave me alone. I'm trying to read.
I'm thinking of that meme where they show the wife laying in bed next to her husband or whatever. It's like, what is he thinking? It's just you laying there. what is the more powerful sword?
Zelda?
between yes. What's going on in that head right now?
What was the sword he used in Majora's Mask? He just used the regular Kokiri sword, right? I don't even know how to say that.
Kokiri.
Kokiri. Just that one.
I think
and then,
so. Because the Master Sword was
Yeah.
not in Majora's Mask, right?
No, he
It was
put it
just
back.
your kid Zelda. Well, like your kid Link, not kid Zelda. Your kid
Wow.
Link, like because anytime that Link has, I don't know, anytime Link has wielded the Master Sword, he's been an adult, right? It is, or is that just an exclusive thing to Ocarina of Time?
It's like, how old is he in A Link to the Past? Because he's like a teenager then. I guess like 16,
I don't know.
roughly.
Mhm.
But like, I think the Master Sword appeared in A Link to the Past first. Then he puts it back. And then he goes to the island. That's a dream, but he has a sword when he wrecks the ship. Who knows what sword that is?
True.
Maybe just Uncle's sword. They never say.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could chalk it all up to as a dream. So in a dream, he could wield it in whatever age he is. Like, I guess I don't know.
I like the name Uncle's sword. Does A Link to the Past, the sword you get, is that even his Uncle's sword? I don't know.
I don't know.
You know,
Mike, it's great to have you here on episode 17 here. And of course, I am your host, David, also known as Pancho Taco on the interwebs. And I don't really have anything else to add. I'm just here. I'm just here to host and guide us and to cut Pops off when he goes way too long about something that nobody cares about. That's what I'm here for.
that's all the time. There's so much on the cutting room floor you guys don't hear. You're so lucky. Thank you, Poncho. Great. Intern.
Guys, it's the first episode of 2024. We have a whole new year ahead of us coming up with lots of gaming ahead of us, lots of life-changing decisions. I assume that's all coming up, but everybody every year comes up with New Year's resolutions, right? Every year it seems like I always see people posting online in community boards, whatever, talking about some New Year's resolutions that they want to do this year. And I think what we can talk about is what about our own resolutions? And I'm not saying like, I want to lose, like Pop says he wants to lose like 140 pounds or something like that by, April 3rd.
Needs to be done.
That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is like, let's keep it like maybe more gaming focused. How's that? Something like that. If there's anything in the gaming spectrum, maybe it's something on Twitch, maybe it's gaming related, a type of resolution that you would like to accomplish in 2024.
I got one.
Does anybody have one? Ashley, you have one? Why don't you start then?
So we've talked so many times about our gaming sins, right? And things that we've never played. I have so many series that I've never played. I've never played a Final Fantasy game. I've never played a Metroid game. But I know. Pop's face, if you could see it, listeners.
Super Metroid, top 5. Top 5 video game. There's no doubt.
I would like to rectify those things, but the number one thing that I would like to do this year is play through Donkey Kong Country 1 through 3. I have played the first one one time, and I've said many times I never had a SNES growing up. But when Donkey Kong Country came to the Switch, offline, I did a playthrough of 1, and I loved it. It was awesome. But I've never played 2 or 3 ever. So I would like to stream a series of doing 1 through 3 this year. That's like my number one on my resolutions.
It's funny you bring up Donkey Kong Country because it's amazing. Love those games. Never played 3 either. So like I've watched a couple of streamers that I love, like speedrun 3, and it's a good game. It's just one of those where Nintendo is mostly really smart. We'll do 2 games of the same ilk on the same system, and then we have to do something different because it becomes stale. And Nintendo is really good at that, where you might get Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, and like, okay, now we have to do something different because if we do another one, it becomes the same. So Tears of the Kingdom is probably the last time we'll get something similar to Breath of the Wild, and then now they're going to have to revamp it completely.
Right.
Like Nintendo is very good at keeping things from being stale. But DK, one of the things that like I kind of wish was different as a bigger Mario fan, and I'm jealous of because the DK series has it, is the secret bonus rooms in DK are so much fun. They're fun to find. It is fun to get 101%, 102%. Like to finish those games and find those secret bonus rooms, to play a little mini game in them. Absolute blast. And because Mario didn't, or because the Rare thought of it before Mario, all we get in Mario games, here's a coin that's hidden. Get it? We get 3 hidden coins where the DK series, like find the hidden room with the fun mini game in it. And you have to beat the mini game, which adds stress and like difficulty. Like I am so jealous that the Donkey Kong Country series gets that. And we Mario fans, even though I can do both, we get coins. Like that's my biggest pet peeve in Mario is that the secrets in the levels are mostly coins. Even Mario Wonder, which was great. There's only like 3 hidden exits in that entire game.
Sure.
Which baffled me. Like hidden exits are so much fun and secrets are so much fun. And Mario Wonder has very little of those. And I would have gone the opposite direction, but that's just me. Sorry to go on a you can cut all of that out, Punch. This is why you're the best.
I've already written it all down. I
knew that was coming.
I will say though, Donkey Kong Country, as kind of a similar thing as a Mario fan. One thing I am jealous of the series is actual difficulty. Mario, modern Mario, maybe Mario all this time. I don't know. It just isn't overly difficult. Stock Mario from Nintendo. I'm trying to think of the last time. Maybe like Mario Brothers 3 was the last time where there was some difficulty. Like I feel like SMW, as cool as the game is, it's not that difficult overall. The levels you can get through, pretty easy, pretty breezy for the most part. There might be a couple tougher ones here and there, but there's nothing that's like, man, I'm gonna game over big time here. Whereas Donkey Kong, I feel like once you get in Donkey Kong Country 1, once you get to that winter level, you can expect like a game over almost every level. You're not making progress.
It's true. And like Super Mario World does have those difficult levels, but they also give you the option to go back and get a couple of capes and a Yoshi most part. Right. So even if you go Super Mario World, I'm not going back and I'm going in the levels as small. It can be really tough. And some of them, like specifically the castles, are tough, but then go get a couple of capes, pop back in. You're like, all right, not as hard as it was. So they give you options. The accessibility in Mario has been good since Super Mario World, pretty much.
That is true. So Donkey Kong Countries 1 through 3.
Yeah. I've heard
That'll be fun.
I know everyone under 2 is so beloved by like the Donkey Kong community. Mm-hmm. I've heard such mixed things about 3. I feel like people either absolutely love 3 or they just discount it altogether. But I look forward to like being able to form my own opinion about it and play through the 3 and give it a real chance.
Is this a first play of all of them?
Just 2 and 3. Just 2 and 3 is the first play. Okay. I only did one so you offline. Played the first. Okay. Yeah, and that was recent. That was like 2 years ago when it came to Switch Online or whenever that was. I played through one. And I can't remember. I want to say I didn't rewind. I'm not a big rewinder or that you can do on the Switch Online on the older games lets you rewind. I'm pretty sure I did not do that, but I remember I was like, dang, this is really difficult. Like I had barely seen like gameplay of it in my lifetime, so but I had a lot of fun. So I look forward to playing through all 3.
Maybe a little foreshadowing, but a big pet peeve of mine, because I love the original series, is when they brought it back for the Wii and then Tropical Freeze for the Wii U returns. Mm-hmm. The Kremlings were gone. They have a whole new set of enemies. I'm like, King K. Rool, what are you doing? And like they brought King K. Rool back for Smash Brothers. Like, this is your Bowser, and you're going to tell me this Walrus Man is the new enemy? I don't even remember who the bad guys were, Turns or Tropical Freeze, because I was so like, what are you doing? Like, the plot is not heavy here, and I already know who the villain is. Why are you giving me a new villain? Like, this is ridiculous. And it's still, like, those games are amazing. You can hear it in my voice. Like, come on. It's like having upset. A Mario game without Bowser.
Was DK64 the last time we saw those enemy sets?
I think so.
I was just trying to think. Well, what about those bongo games technically? What about those?
God, I would love to play those. I would love to play those.
Those count. I had them, and one of my few regrets is I think I returned it to buy like Halo 2 or something. I was sad.
Understandable.
Angsty college kid.
I feel like those would make for a fun stream game one day. if you could get the actual peripherals and play it the way it was intended and stuff. I think that could be fun. I think that could be actually pretty fun.
Like the only licensed song is Rock Lobster, if I can remember. That's like the only one. The rest is just original music. It was a good time. My buddy played it way more than I did. And you just come home from work and he's sitting there banging on his congos. You're like, all right.
What other game series has done something drastically different like that, right? Like where you have your traditional platformer is what Donkey Kong is, it's difficult. And then suddenly they come out with like Donkey Konga, this totally rhythm-based thing that's nothing, especially like Donkey Konga 2, it's nothing at all other than in name and in character related. Like what other game series has, I know there's other ones. What
Cadence
other
of
ones
Hyrule. Cadence of Hyrule.
There you go. They had that crossover with Crypt of the Necrodancer, right?
Yep.
I can't play those games.
You could disable the rhythm if you didn't like it, but
I might be able to play those games then. All right.
Yeah. The Cadence of Hyrule specifically had a normal Crypt of the Necrodancer, no, but
right.
The Cadence of Hyrule, yes, you could actually disable if you just wanted to play more of a traditional Zelda. I had one in mind, and what was it? What about like Wario? They went from like Wario Land and stuff, and suddenly they came out with like WarioWare. It's just like these it's not even mini games, they're micro games. And it's a lot of fun. If you're in the room with somebody else playing WarioWare, you're laughing. You're having a good time.
It's a great game.
But that's another one that just like totally they changed like genres on the character, if you will. And that one worked out in my opinion, but
believe it or not, the first one that came out for Game Boy Advance, like I heard about it. And I saw they had references to old Nintendo games, I think like 9-Volt or whatever that dude, his levels. And that was kind of like my first introduction to that kind of just insane humor all over the place, like nonsensical. And I have been in love with that kind of like culture and that kind of just wild video game nonsense ever since. Because I love that game. And before I was probably one of those people like Nintendo's not adult enough. Like we need more Resident Evil 4. Toon Link is terrible. Blades will bleed. And then I played that. I'm like, oh, ridiculous and like nuts is kind of fun too. And so like I am super thankful for the Wario Land series to like kind of opening my eyes. Like not everything has to be dark, angsty, and Batman like. You can enjoy your video games too and like have that childlike ridiculousness in there. I love that series. The Wii one, super underrated. So I'm excited for the Switch one with the gyro controls. Even though the gyro controls 99% of the time have been terrible, like this might be the one game that makes them decent.
There's some really funny clips from the Nintendo Direct of when they announced it that are out there. Some of the activities they have you do without context, they're quite funny to watch. And I encourage people to go and watch a trailer for WarioWare if you want a good laugh. There's some funny things in there. So Ashley, your New Year's resolution is Donkey Kong Countries 1 through 3. Anything else?
The only other thing besides the ones I said, maybe doing a Metroid this year would be cool. I just did just completed my very first intermediate ROM hack. And I would really like to try to just like get into harder ROM hacks. I've done 10 ROM hacks so far, 9 of which were beginner. But I've had Chicanery by Bufflin on my list since before I ever played a ROM hack, and he was my favorite maker in Mario Maker before I started playing SMW. So a big goal of mine this year, because it's like you really amp up the difficulty in intermediate with Chicanery. I saw people who are so seasoned in SMW struggle so hard with that ROM hack. So that's a big one on my list. And if and when I finish that one, Invictus, I'll be attempting Invictus as well.
Yeah, Invictus is intermediate, right?
It is.
Is it like upper end of intermediate is what people consider it?
It depends who you ask, because I said that, and then I saw people, a dear friend of mine is playing it right now, And I saw people coming in saying, "Oh, it's on the easier side of intermediate." I was like, "What have you? I don't want to spoil for anybody, even though it's been out for a long time. But have you seen the final boss in that hack? It's like that's gonna be tough. But that's really the core of my goal is just to really like challenge myself and play much more difficult Kaizo hacks than I began with.
What I'll say, at least with my experience with Kaizo, is just do it.
Yeah.
Find one that you want to play. Just do it. You'll be surprised after like a 3-hour session how much progress you actually made.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of crazy. Like you start playing a level and you're like, I can't even get this first jump.
Mhm.
That happened. I was playing Grand Poo World 3 and there was a level I couldn't even get the first jump for like almost an hour, it seemed like. And then finally by the end of the stream, I was like, I got into the checkpoint and everything, and we had made some decent progress and everything overall. But it's like you don't even realize. It's just like pick that one that's just out of reach. Is at least from my experience, it's like I can't do this, but I'm gonna do it, and you'll be surprised. You'll surprise yourself after and how much you learn too. It's crazy.
I've been giving this a lot of thought to help like try to explain to people the difference between Super Mario World ROM hacks and Super Mario Maker. And Mario Maker controls majestically, but it's almost like a fully automatic vehicle. You get in your car and you drive, the car does the rest for you. Like Mario controls the same every time. It's beautiful. When you're playing Super Mario World, it's like you have manual transmission. You have so much more control over that little Italian plumber. It's insane. But you got to learn how to stick shift.
Yeah.
You got to learn what to do when going up hills. You got to learn to do like you have so much control over Mario over in Super Mario World that you don't even realize you have. It's overwhelming if you don't like. And the creators of these ROM hacks know how much control you have. And so they'll make sure this one jump you better be in, gear 3, shift down to 2, and then go back up. It's nuts how precise and how many button inputs go into just one jump that people don't get to see. And so if you have a streamer with like the controller on screen that shows what buttons they're hitting, like watch how many buttons go into each individual jump. That's not something that really happens in Mario Maker. Mario Maker, you're either holding in jump or you're not. In Mario ROM hacks, you're holding in jump, letting in go, re-grabbing it, and just tweaking everything. There's so much more control, both horizontally and vertically in that game, that it's overwhelming when you first play it. But the more you play it, it starts becoming automatic, sort of like a manual transmission where you don't even think about it. You start knowing. And it's just, that's the best metaphor. Or is that a metaphor? I don't know. Simile, one of those. That like that's the difference.
I think you're right.
It's one of those, but like you have so much more control, and so it's like super impressive when I watch you guys play it. Like how much goes into every single. Yeah, shell jumps are easier for some reason. Yeah, Miyamoto.
It's just, it's like I just like doing it and watching it are so different because, like you said, a jump that looks just like a regular jump to anybody, like. It could be a regrab or like these weird conditions or like the buttons are off in certain ways and you just don't realize like how much more difficult it is to actually be like behind the driver's seat doing it,
It's night and day. It's like the transition is like going from a Mario game to a Donkey Kong game. They're both platformers, but they're very different. Like very different animals, and I'm still scared, like super impressed with what you guys are doing with those rocks. Man, they're tough.
Yeah.
They're tough. They're a lot harder than they look, which is they look hard.
That is something like if you watch somebody who's been doing it for many years and is very skilled, they'll make some things look very simple. They'll make levels like they'll die like maybe a couple times, handful of times sometimes. If you were to go do that as an untrained player, you'd die probably like 300 times to their one death or something like that in some of those levels. Like it's definitely a lot harder, absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's it's a good time. It's a good grind, and yeah, you'll be surprised how much you learn just by going for something that is just out of your reach. You'll be surprised. You'll surprise yourself, which is cool.
It's such visually impressive still. The Super Nintendo graphics of Super Mario World, maybe just because I'm an old man and I love retro, it's so pleasing to the eyes and to the soul. And that's part of like why I love watching ROM hack. And like part of the bummer is like, well, one, I'm not good enough to play the tough ones right now. And like Mario Maker 2 looks good, but you've seen everything you can see when it comes to visuals in Mario Maker 2. And like with ROM hack, seeing those sprite swaps and things like that, man, there's so much fun to watch.
Oh yeah, absolutely. All right. So Ashley, 2 resolutions you have: Donkey Kong Country 1 through 3, 2024, as well as more difficult hacks to get under your belt.
Yes.
All right. Pops, what about you? Do you have any New Year's resolutions for gaming?
Yeah, most of mine revolve around the stream. A couple of like I'm not going to small stuff anymore. Especially when you first start streaming, you could start taking like every bit of criticism to heart, and it really you'll change your stream one night to the next one. It's like I'm kind of in this cool groove now where like I know what I want my stream to be, and I'm good at taking advice and not letting that advice like change everything. So like I'm not going to sweat the small stuff. Like my stream's not going to be for everyone, but I got to make it for me and what I like to do. So, that helps big time to eliminate some stress. And then another thing is I got to get some more retro games in. I just did Jurassic Park Raptor mode. And like my love of retro hasn't really, like when I first started streaming, I was doing like Terminator on Sega CD. I mean, all of the Sega Genesis Jurassic Park games. And like I got to start sprinkling those in more because it's so much fun to share these games from my childhood, especially the ones with the terrible voice acting, the jank mechanics, just to kind of keep like, hey, this is where I cut my teeth. Like you think Mario Maker Kaizo levels are hard. Wait do you see, this level of like Grant Jurassic Park is ridiculous. Like, what do you do here? Like, well, you get lucky. You got to hope. You got to pray. And then the last one is just randomizers. I want to do a ton more randomizers. And like, I would love to do co-op randomizers with you nerds or rando races. Like once we play a game way too much, let's do a race. Put it all on the Arcade Parlor, Twitch account. Like Arcade Parlor rando races would be incredible. But I say this every year. Like those are like the 3 things that I loved when I started streaming: randomizer streams, retro streams, and Mario streams. And like I got to start. I'm still always going to be a maker streamer mostly because of the community aspect. But getting those other parts of my like, I love these streams, I think will be a ton of fun. So those are my resolutions.
I think coming from a Mario background and stuff, like they're also great fits because like a lot of those involve like a few like 1 to 2 minutes of gaming stretches and then a break, right? A lot of the retro games are like you only play for like 1 to 2 minutes and then like either you die or you beat the level and then you have like I don't know, like 30 seconds of downtime to catch up with what everyone's talking about. Randomizers I think kind of can fit that bill a bit because it's a collectathon for the most part. Our randomizers are collectathons until you can unlock the next thing. So you have plenty of chat interaction and stuff, obviously, and stuff like that. It's like a natural direction to kind of step in there for, adding stuff in there, which is great.
I'm doing I'm doing my first randomizer right now, Ocarina of Time. It's kind of amazing, like, coming from the Mario community, especially with you Pops, like, because you have the whole like you used to, I don't know if you still have the tag backseating required, but you used to have that.
Oh yeah,
you do. Yeah. So like the fact that you are cool with like your community, like being a part of what you're doing. I'm doing my first Ocarina of Time randomizer on Ship of Harkinian, and because it's my first time, I have tons of people who are like brainstorming ideas on what I can do. When I did like really difficult settings, I had no clue what I was in for really, but
that's a hard randomizer.
Oh yeah, and I did mine token sanity, which I had no idea what it meant, but that just means Skulltulas can have anything. Like I'm finding like the megaton hammer on a random Skulltula as a child. Like I had no clue
So
what
you
I
have
was
to know
doing.
where they're all located.
Yes.
Every
You're nuts.
location.
I know. Thankfully, Ship of Arcanian has a tracker in it so that you can keep track on, like, you can know like what you're looking for where, which is great. But the aspect of it, like that I think would really appeal to your viewers specifically, Pops, is that you have such a community of everybody kind of is like, hey, I think maybe, why don't you try this in that level, or like, what about this mechanic? Does that work? And I feel like a rando would be a really good like transition for you, you know, to have everybody kind of be involved. Like, oh, we found this item. What can we do with it? Where can we go? What can we try, you know, together?
Years ago, before I streamed, like my first flashcard, I got a flashcard just to do a Link to the Past randomizers,
Mhm.
and I played them a ton. Like every weekend, I watched, you know, the best randomizer streamers play all the time. I learned some of the tricks, specifically in the Ice Temple, the glitch through the wall, which saves so much time. Like I beat Ganon with just the Master Sword, which if you've played that game, you can't do anything unless you fully charge and spin, and it takes like 372 hits. It's a ridiculous fight, but I just wanted to see if I could do it. And like those runs are so much fun because like, oh, the butter sword was just in this random chest. And I had some good ones, like never trying to go like full speed, but doing my best, like passing up skips. I've gotten a sub 2 hours a few times on a Link to the Past randomizer.
Wow.
Granted, this was like 3+ years ago, so I'd have to start fresh, but I loved it. And even when I was making my first emotes when I got affiliate, I had a bunch of a Link to the Past, like dead Link emotes and like failed ones that were just terrible, terrible art. But like my plan was to do a lot of randomizers. 3 years later, I have done 0 still. So maybe this year, probably not. I'm a lazy man. Mario Maker 2, 1 viewer level, maybe. Marbles, let's go.
As far as my New Year's resolution, it's probably just to actually like finish more games.
That's good for
either
you.
online, offline, whatever. I'm almost there. I'm almost there with my first one, actually offline. So
Sonic Frontiers.
yeah. Oh, I'm excluding how many times I finished that one in a year, of course. Science cannot math out anything that high yet.
Yeah, it's one of those like to the exclamation point power thing. I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. But no, just finishing more things that I intend to and stuff like that. I have a number of things. I've actually I'll share it at some point with my channel, of course. Is I found a cool site that helps me organize things that I would like to play, things I'm currently playing, things that I have played. And it comes with like a free public URL that you can send out and people can view it and stuff like that and see it, and you can put notes on it. You can rate games that you played and stuff. So I've been kind of building that up, that kind of library on both ends of want to play versus have played.
Mm-hmm.
And I plan to share that at some point. Of course, I got some more work to do on there. So that's probably my New Year's resolution is to kind of follow that and actually like seek credits more often. I have a bad habit of even in my own time starting games and then just falling off of them, just falling off because the new shiny thing is out, or the old beaten up game is still sitting there and it's awesome. One or the other. So that's what I'm doing.
Well, you
It's funny
finish. You go.
I was going to say, it's funny you said that because I just played A Legend of Oasis on the Saturn, and 80% of the game, no guide needed, having fun.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I've stuck a little bit, but it's fun to explore to get through it. Bosses aren't too bad, you know, plenty of save points. Got to the 80% mark, like I know I'm towards the end. And it's like the programmers or the developers are like, you think you're going to beat this game, huh? And then it just escalates to the most confusing, where do I go? Even when you're in there, what do I do? The hardest puzzles I have ever seen in all of my life. Like the final end of the game, which probably should have taken like 1 hour, ended up taking like 6 because I'd stopped playing it for a while. I'm like, this is no longer fun. And then I got mad, David. I got mad. I'm like, I am not going to let these jerks beat me. And so my poor wife had to sit next to me with the guide open, like, you tell me what to do. We're beating this game. And we did. We got to the credits, and I wasn't even happy. I was just relieved. I was mad because it was so, I just want to say it was so much fun. And then I wish I could, if I had the guide in front of me right now, I would read it to be like, go to the left to this bush, find the secret item, spawn this, go over here, use that once to spawn this, go back to the left and do this one more time, move the rock to the right, because now when you fall down, I'm like, who is going to figure this out? And like, I was just yelling the whole time, and she's just crying, reading the game facts. Like, I want to go to bed. I'm like, you will sit here and you will let me beat this game. But it was hard.
And you will enjoy it.
No, that never happened at any point. But like, it was so weird that 80% of the game was brilliant and fun and easygoing, like almost reminded me of Zelda. And the last 20% was just brutal. It was like, and they made me mad enough where I have to defeat this. Like, you jerks, you're going down. That was my rant.
Ashley, did you have something to add?
Oh, I was gonna say, you're gonna go back and finish Tears of the Kingdom?
Probably not.
Okay.
I played my amount that I want to play of that game.
Oh, you didn't beat the game?
He played it for like no, you can stop.
Oh,
he played it for like 15 hours, and not even maybe, and he cried because he's like, I have to make food because I'm cold. I hate this game.
Good ending. It's hard to nail a video game ending. They nailed it, but
they did.
It's a good one.
It's moving. Yeah. It's moving. The ending.
I watched it on YouTube. I'm good. I'm good.
All right. Well, it's spoiled for you. Yeah, you're good. It's on video game endings. Very hard to do. And the Zelda series seems to get it right most of the time. I still say the best ending, Super Metroid. Like, they tell a tiny bit of story. Planet explodes. You're on with your day. Cool ending. Sorry, spoiler alerts for those out there.
Speaking of Super Metroid, that had something in that game that, like, there may be other games before that had this in it too, but this one really, like, when you get to it, everybody talks, oh, it's a Metroid ending, right? It's the escape the planet, run through everything you just did, get to the thing and get out of there before the timer gets out. Like, everybody knows it as like the Metroid ending, but like, even like today, like there are games that do it and people still call it's the Metroid ending in a game. Like, it like put its staple on there. Like, it was big at the time. Obviously it was big. And now whenever other game does it, everybody references it as the Metroid ending.
It's just it's such a good boss battle. You know, it's everything about Super Metroid, which it's hard not like there's no spoilers because they do. My favorite type of story is a very small story where if you want to research and find more in-depth stuff, you can go deep into it. But for the most part, it's pretty straightforward. And it's just very rarely at the end of the game do you feel like, that's it. I feel good. And like Nintendo, like Mario, you kill Bowser, game over, you get the princess. Who cares? Super Metroid, I think Ocarina of Time has a very good ending. I think Zelda, for the most part, nails the ending. And Halo does not. No, Halo's fun. You get to ride the cars.
I was about to say Halo 3 had a cool ending, right?
Yeah,
no. Halo Reach had the cool ending where it's just like survive.
Oh yeah,
that was cool. Yeah. That was cool.
I literally couldn't have picked a worse series because the Halo. That's amazing. That's fantastic. Yeah, sorry,
they're actually pretty good.
Samba de Amigo, worst ending ever. I've never played it. It's just throwing that game under the bus for no reason.
Desert
Sorry,
Bus,
Sega.
Worst ending.
Desert Bus. Does it even have an ending, or does it like just roll over to back?
Don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know. But yeah, that's my New Year's resolution. Actually finish some games, see more endings. There's plenty of games I've seen the ending where I think they're absolutely incredible. They're definitely out there. They are definitely out there. I think like a lot of things, I think a lot of things have a hard time landing any type of ending when it comes to any form of media. It's so difficult to find something that has a good ending, it seems like. But video games, there are a few out there. There are a few out there, like throwing the enemy. I'm blanking on his name. Throwing the enemy lion off at the end of Lion King.
Terrible. No, come on, man. You knew that would trigger.
Did you get just called
Come on.
Scar the enemy lion?
Yes, I couldn't remember his name. Darth Vader. You throw him off the edge. He falls off yet another edge.
The old enemy lion.
Oh my god.
No, they're definitely there's some good games out there. I have a few that the endings have stuck with me over a while, over the years. And then a lot of games where I'm just like, all right, whatever. It depends on how story heavy the game is too, and stuff like that, of course. But some are out there, and I want to see more of them.
What's the last ending you've seen?
The last video game ending I've seen. Man, I got to think about that.
Aladdin.
The last video game where I actually saw an end boss. And I'm not talking about like I've seen like hack endings and stuff like that. I'm not talking about that specifically. I can't think of what the last one I would have seen was.
Resolution's not going so well.
I was
this
gonna
far.
say, good thing you have that resolution.
No, I'm about tonight. I'm gonna see an ending. I think probably tonight. I think I will this early into the year. I've been playing Spider-Man 2, so I'm right at like the end of the story.
Nice.
So.
That's a good game. I have that back there. I love the one of the few tutorials that is actually fun and made me laugh. Like that guy's humor. Oh wait, no, you're talking about the brand new one. I'm talking about the game.
I think we're talking about different. I mean, the old one is good too. I like Spider-Man, the game based off the Raimi verse. That was a fun one too. I actually did beat that one.
That's a good game.
Wow. I got Spider-Man 2 as a Christmas gift. So I've been playing through that, and I think I'm gonna finish it tonight. I think I'm gonna finish it tonight if I have time.
I'm proud of you.
I'm also playing Left 4 Dead 2 with my brother and his nephew later tonight.
My
so
God.
we'll see what I get to.
One of my favorite games of all time, Left 4 Dead 1 and 2.
I'm trying to get my buddies to play. What's the one on Gamepad? Back for More or something?
Back for Blood.
I was close. Yeah, I'm trying to play that. That seems like not to go off on another side rant, but it's really hard. Like Game Pass is like one of the things where it's awesome. There's a lot of multiplayer games, but every multiplayer game requires 3 hours of tutorial and figuring out. And we can get together like maybe once a month. Like they got kids, they got family, and we're going to get together. And it's hard just to have a multiplayer game. Let's jump in and have fun. We don't need story. And I think, Back for Blood might be able to cover it because we just go in and shoot zombies and not have to think about it. So I'm hoping that'll work out. But literally every multiplayer game now has like a 3-hour tutorial and this super long grind where like I want to yell to Sega, we need your arcade games multiplayer to come back and put them all on Game Pass so I don't have to buy them. And like I think there's a market for simple pick up and play multiplayer games that I don't know why it just feels like there's a void right now, or or they're just not on Game Pass. But everything is way too complicated now for a group of friends that don't get a lot of time to spend like 5 hours learning the game. Like I want 5 minutes to be able to pick up and play. And right now there's just beat 'em ups. That's it. Like we can play the Turtles game because it's just a beat 'em up and that's it from what I can tell. Everything else requires way too much learning. And, when friends get together, it's hard to learn,
Well, I will say, I mean, everybody I think already owns this. I think they gave it away for free at one time, but Left 4 Dead 2 is 99 cents on Steam right now.
Worth every
Can't go wrong with that.
Every penny of that 99 cents. What an incredible game. One of my apps. I streamed Left 4 Dead 1 and 2 when I like first started streaming. No camera or anything. I used to stream on my Xbox 360. I would stream it from my Xbox 360.
That's awesome.
I haven't played those games in forever. I think the last time I played a Left 4 Dead game was back probably 11 years ago, I think.
Wow.
Probably 11 years ago when I was working a retail job. I just remember on a weekend or something like that with a couple of co-workers, we just played it online one evening or something like that. It's been a while. But I'm looking forward to booting it up later this evening. At time of recording this and stuff, I'll be playing it offline with some family and stuff, having a good time. So, okay, we got our New Year's game resolution. Sounds like we all have some achievable. I mean, everybody's people get their New Year's resolutions, and a lot of people say they're meant to be broken and stuff like that. But I think we got a solid list here of things that we all want to do. I think we're gonna be good. I think we'll be good. We'll get through it. We'll get some stuff on the board here. You know, going back just a moment. I meant to say this earlier. Pops, there is actually a mod for Ship of Harkinian where you can actually co-op Ocarina of Time. 2 links on the same game. Running around, apparently occasionally run into a bug where like bosses freeze because they just don't know who to attack or anything. Because they're programmed on one, but if you have 2 links out there, sometimes they'll just like freak out and freeze, and like I think you could just basically get a free kill on them at that point. But there is, and you can also do randomizers with 2 links. Like you can actually enable randomizer and stuff like that, and share the same randomizer file amongst each other. And work together on it. It does exist. I don't know how well. Apparently, you both connect to a server or something like that, and your game is hosted on the server. However, so some latency could be involved with that. I don't know.
So those are my favorite. Like why I love A Link to the Past and gravitated towards that is because randomizer 2 to 3 hours, but the Ocarina of Time one is kind of like 4 to 6, sometimes longer. Because
if you know what you're doing.
If you know what you're doing, that's the nature of the game. And I'm more of a like, I want to finish what I'm doing when I stream kind of person. Like I hate having unfinished business. And so I gravitated towards that. But what I love with Ocarina of Time is those co-op streams of working together. Like, oh, you do this check, I'll do this check. It's just, I feel like I would need to practice and know the game so I'm not letting down my partner. But what I did see was fun is hide and seek in that. So like you both go into the Lost Woods. And like, let's say Ashley and I are playing, like Ashley will hide. I'll turn off my map and I'll go try to find Ashley. And then like, you got to hit her with the sword in order for it to count as a hit. I saw a couple of streams doing that. That was a ton of fun. Do you know if we can have more than 2 links? Because if you get like 7 links in there and we go into a dungeon, that would be a blast for hide and seek. It would just be a ton of fun. But I love that. Those are the coolest.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'd have to look at that. I don't know how many. It might just be 2 people on the Ship of Harkinian port that's out there. I don't know. It might just be 2 people.
So just because I don't know what that is specifically, every time you say that, I don't know what you're talking about. But that Ship of Hard Candy, couple of Werthers over here, those little strawberries with the goo in the middle. That's good hard candy.
So Ship of Harkinian, it's a PC port of Ocarina of Time where they took the game and I'm not going to do it justice exactly what they've done because I don't quite understand it, but basically they like reverse engineered it into existence in a way that's legal. And they're not actually, it's not a pirated game or anything like that. Like they reverse engineered it. You still have to you still have to provide your own ROM and everything, of course. Which I think it wants a very specific like Master Quest ROM from GameCube specifically.
I got it.
They're able to get it. Yeah.
For how many times?
I have it too. That's why I have Ship of Harkinian, of course. I have that. I ripped the ROM, the ISO right off of the GameCube and put it in. And it works it works really well. It's cool. It's like reverse engineered, full HD. You can do like 120 frames per second if you want. And it still looks good. It's extra crispy. There's extra mods on top of it. Yeah, I found a mod the other day. You can play as Ganondorf instead of Adult Link the whole time and stuff. So there's some like kind of fun things with it, but it's a cool thing.
For how many times I've purchased the Ocarina of Time ROM, that's mine. That belongs to me. I don't care how many new versions come out. I got it on the 64 probably 3 times. Mm-hmm. I got it on the GameCube. I got it on the Wii. I got it on the Sure, I have it on the Switch.
3DS.
I have purchased that nonsense. 3DS. Mm-hmm. 97 times I purchased that single same game. It's mine, Nintendo. That's my ROM now. Come at me, Miyamoto. Sorry, I got mad there. I bought that game like 90 times, man. It's mine. I own that now. Let me plug in my Game Shark without suing.
All right, we have our New Year's resolutions here, everybody. So everybody listening, keep us accountable. Check in with us. Are we doing what we said we're gonna do? Check in. Am I finishing games? Is Ashley actually playing Donkey Kong Country? Is Pops? I don't remember what yours is. Can you remind me what it was?
It's pretty messed up.
I don't remember. I think mine was to play this. It's wild though. People say it's easy. Something. All right, I'm done. That was my joke.
All right, you heard it. Everyone, keep Pops accountable. Keep them accountable. All right. Moving on. I have a little quiz. For our listeners here, I teased Ashley and Pops that I had a little quiz for them, and I'm going to pull it up on my side here. And if you guys want to play along, of course, as you're listening, you might know some of this. Maybe some people here already know. Let me pull up the list here. What I'm going to do is I have a list of, I'm going to see if you guys can work this out together. The top 10 reviewed Nintendo 64 games.
Easy.
Of all time. This
Easy.
is according to, for anybody who's wanting to know, this is based off of Metacritic. Based off of reviews, the highest reviews in order. You don't have to give it in order unless you get it really quick. Then I'll make you guys order it. But Nintendo 64 games, top 10 games reviewed. I want to see if you guys can get this. I have the list pulled up on my side here. I just pulled it up. Don't look at chat because chat might be guessing along with it. Nope. So don't look at the live Twitch chat. Let's hear. So, hold on. Let me pull up another note while you guys are thinking about this. Let me pull up another notepad here so I can write down what you guys get.
It's a good quiz. I like it. We're working together. Like we can do. There's 2 10s in there. The 100% Mario 64 and Ocarina of Time
all day long.
And then 9.9 Majora's Mask. It loses a point because it's a sequel to Ocarina of Time. GoldenEye is going to be up there. And those are the 4 that I know. GoldenEye might be lower on the list, but that was so revolutionary at the time. Star Fox is amazing, also lower on the list, but that has to be on there when it comes to 64 game. But the top 3, maybe not the top 2, 64 and Ocarina of Time
all day long. Yeah, Majora definitely is going to be on there. Majora's Mask, GoldenEye, of course. I'd say Perfect Dark is probably on that top 10. Even though it's not my favorite.
It's better than GoldenEye. It's just it might suffer from, hey, this is an improvement, but it did not bake. That frog in my throat was brutal. I was trying to power through it. I just started talking.
I could hear it.
I'm talking like this now. Hey, Majora's Mask. See, it's out of nowhere. But yeah,
I wonder if Paper Mario is on there.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Paper Mario.
Because that's like the only RPG. Let's put that on there because that's like a great game. Visually appealing. We weren't mad at Sticker Star yet at the time.
DK64?
No.
You don't think that's on the top 10? Even though it's not my favorite.
I love the game. It's like people say it's a collectathon, but I would take off DK64 and put on Banjo.
Banjo's a great one.
They're the same game, but like it's like DK64 was the third Banjo Kazooie, and like by then we're sick of collecting this stuff.
What about Crash?
And Nintendo's like,
Crash Bandicoot.
That PlayStation game.
It's PlayStation. I never played it. Can you tell?
Exclusive to PlayStation.
Can you tell?
All right. So let me give you guys. Let me catch you up a little bit here. I will say your top 4 that you said being Ocarina of Time, GoldenEye, Majora's Mask, Super Mario 64. Mm-hmm. 3 of those games are in the top 4.
Okay, so we got to drop Majora's Mask, I think.
Well, no, Majora's Mask is in the top 10.
Okay.
It is in the top 10. But when you said guaranteed top 4, actually Mario 64 is 5th on this list.
Good, Majora's better. Anyway.
It's not in the top 4.
Okay.
What else have you gotten? So far you have Mario 64 is on there. Mm-hmm. Ocarina of Time is on there. Mm-hmm. Majora's Mask is on there. GoldenEye is on there. Perfect Dark is on there. Paper Mario is on there. Banjo is on there. And what other games have you guys mentioned?
DK64.
Star Fox.
Star Fox not on there.
Wow.
Ooh, that's a shame. That's a good
No
game. It's an arcade
DK64?
game.
DK64 is on there.
Look
Top
at
10.
on there.
that. Look at
Wow.
that.
What about
Wow.
Banjo?
Hold on. Let me double check. DK64 is. No, I'm sorry. DK64 is not. DK64 is on the user reviews top 10.
Gotcha.
The critic review, not in the top 10, however.
What
I
about
remember that
Banjo?
game being
So
super
you guys are at-
polarizing.
You guys are at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have 7 of the 10. There are 3 games
No Banjo on there?
that you have not said. Banjo is on there.
Okay,
Banjo
so
Tooie, the sequel.
Nope,
Nope.
that's
not on there.
Did Sin and Punishment come out in America?
how about
That game is universally loved.
I can tell you it's not on the top 10.
Okay.
what about a Mario Party? Specifically, I'm gonna go no Mario Party. How about
no Mario Party? The
Mario
closest
Kart
Mario Party to top 10 would have been
2?
not even the top 24. I'd have to go to another
Wow.
page on this. Not in the top 24. I will say Banjo Tooie is number 15. DK64 is number 13.
Okay,
Wow.
In that top 10.
I gotta go Mario Kart 64.
Mario Kart or Diddy Kong Racing.
Mario Kart 64 is not on the top 10.
Whoa.
Diddy Kong Racing is number 20. Mario Kart 64 is not even on the first page here.
I don't like
According to the
Mario Kart
critics.
64. The tracks are way too long.
Do we
Way
have
too long.
a Mario sport game? Mario Tennis.
They would never. They're not
Mario
deep enough.
Tennis, number 10.
Yo!
Top rated game of
Wow.
N64, according to the critics.
We played it a ton too. I
Yeah.
love that game. We played that a ton. We had my buddy who got married that across the country just to play it. You know, it was a ton of fun.
We got one more?
So that's 10.
You have 2. Nope, you have 2 more games. Two
Two
more games
more?
that you haven't. You have not mentioned these 2. You have 8 games of the 10.
Man, that's tough. Sin and Punishment. Not that.
Kirby Crystal
that-
Shards?
Kirby Crystal Shards is not in the top 10.
It's one of my favorites. I had to ask. Wave Runner, like I feel like everyone plays, but I can't see that being on the list.
Wave Race. I mean, it could just
Wave
because it
Race?
was a
You mean
launch
Wave Race?
title.
Yeah.
Wave Race, number 8.
Yo!
Top rated game of N64. Wave Race 64. That leaves
Wow.
one game. And I will say, this game is number 9 on the top 10.
Okay.
So it's just barely there. It's number 9. So it's not going to be it's not like the top tier that everybody knows, but it's on there. You guys know this game.
We know it.
Turok 2.
Oh man.
I don't know if you've played it, but I think everybody knows it. Yeah.
Turok 2.
You'll recognize it. Turok 2 is not
Love
on the
that.
top 10.
I tried.
Man,
Man.
how is it? How's
Everybody
Wave
played
Race
it.
better than Star Fox? Star Fox 64 is a masterpiece. Only I
Star
have
Fox-
the brains to rule.
How?
Did I
Oh,
tell you Star
I got
Fox
it.
was
I know
number
it.
21?
I know it. Melee.
Let's hear it.
Oh, Melee.
Melee was on the GameCube.
Oh.
But
But Super
Smash
Smash
Brothers
Brothers.
64.
Smash Brothers.
Smash 64 is not on the top 10. It's not on the front
Dang,
page.
wow. I thought I had it
I
for
will go
sure.
back though. Okay, Turok is number 22. It's on the first page.
Okay.
Turok 2. Star Fox 64 is number 21 on the front page.
Wow.
Games basically like I have no one of the few games I have no guff with. Like couldn't have made it better. But with that game, except Slippy could be less of a jerk.
Yeah.
I would say that. Fox, they're on my tail again.
I love a Star Fox 64 playthrough. I
Oh.
love it.
I have
That
a
was
guess. I have a guess, but
That was
I'm
awesome.
scared that it's going to be on there, and
Ooh.
I don't think it should be.
F-Zero?
Oh,
F-Zero X is number 23 on the list.
wow.
It's a hard game. It doesn't mess around, but it's
It's
beautiful
fun.
on the 64,
I'm going to go
which is wild.
Glover.
It's not Glover. Yoshi's Story.
No, it's not Glover.
I had to
No way,
ask.
It's
Yoshi's
not.
Story.
I never played
that
it,
that
though.
might be on the top 10 of like the lowest rated.
I hate that
That's
game. I
not a
never
good
played
game.
it. I never played it.
Sub-Zero
It's not good.
Mythologies.
It's not good. What was it? Say it again.
Sub-Zero Mythologies.
It is not on the top 10.
That's a shame.
There's one more game here.
Wow. I
Trying
feel
to
like
think, was
I
there
think
any-
it's going to be so obvious.
I'll give you guys another 1 or 2 guesses, then I'll kind of start doing some hints.
Okay.
Okay. I'll have some hints. See if you guys can think of like 1 or 2 more good guesses here.
Man.
Dr. Mario 64.
Is that an actual game?
Apparently, it's like the best puzzle game of all time. Like
Wow.
puzzle nerds will swear by Dr. Mario only on the 64 for some reason.
I will say it is not in the top 10.
That's a shame.
Is it? Oh, I wonder if it's a Pokemon game.
Pokemon Snap would be, or Stadium. Could be a Stadium.
I think Snap and the 2 stadiums are the only N64 Pokemon games, right?
That I can think of.
I don't know if there's any others.
Or there was Let's Go Pikachu or whatever, right? Or not.
Tony
Hawk.
Was that a Snap like add-on or something? I don't know.
The one where you could talk to him.
Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. That was on Switch.
I can't think of the name of it. The one with Pikachu where you could talk into the.
That was
Snap,
I think it was.
That
No,
was
64
because you had the
microphone.
mic,
Yeah.
the microphone add-on. Yeah,
Okay.
I think that was like a Snap. Like if you had the peripheral, you could do that. One
Tony,
more game.
Tony Hawk.
That's a great guess, but is not.
It probably
I'm
got
actually
knocked because
Tony
of the
Hawk
music
Pro Skater was an amazing game.
on the PlayStation.
Not on the,
They had to
yeah,
like.
maybe it was an N64 thing. Maybe it just didn't port well. Maybe it was just better on PS1 or something. Any other guesses?
I think Pops had said Yoshi's Story, which I don't even know that game.
Yeah, I don't know. Looks like we just lost Pops here, but we're going to keep going here.
Yeah.
Yoshi's Story is not there. Let me give you a hint. It is rated M.
Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Conker's Bad Fur Day is number 9.
Yo, Conker!
You got it. Conker's Bad Fur Day, number 9.
Have I?
So that gives us the top 10 there. The top 10 there. Pops, Ashley got it.
Conker's Bad Fur Day.
I heard Conkers.
I dropped one hint, and it is rated M.
I would have
and
never
that was
guessed
enough of a
Conkers.
hint.
So
The top 10 games on the N64. I'm going to read them in the order that you gave them to me here. You gave me Mario 64, Ocarina of Time, GoldenEye, Perfect Dark, Paper Mario, Banjo, Mario Tennis, Wave Race 64, Conker's Bad Fur Day, and then there was apparently I didn't write this one down. You gave me one more here. Did I say Mario? I did say Mario Tennis.
Wasn't it DK64?
DK64.
Yeah.
Yes, that was it. Okay. Those are the top 10.
That was fun.
What do you guys think was number 1?
Ocarina of Time.
Number 1?
Tied with Mario 64. Those are both game-changing
All day long,
masterpieces.
OOT.
It was Mario 64 is not number 2.
Really?
It's not.
Is it-
Can you guys guess what's number 2?
Majora?
Nope.
GoldenEye?
No. GoldenEye is number 3.
I will go with probably one of your favorites on this list. Was it Perfect Dark?
Yes, Perfect
Wow.
Dark is number 2.
I'm surprised to hear that.
Yeah. Perfect Dark is number 2. And this is, of course, rated by the critics. This is, if anybody's not familiar with Metacritic, it's an aggregate of all review sites at the time of release where they bring in everybody's score out of 10, if you will. And then they average those numbers into a 90. Like Ocarina of Time was 99, Perfect Dark was 97, etc. So the order that they rate these is Ocarina of Time's number 1,
Mm-hmm.
Perfect Dark number 2, GoldenEye in 3rd, Majora's Mask in 4th, Super Mario 64 in 5th place. I was surprised by Mario 64 being in 5th. I thought that would have come up a little bit higher there. Paper Mario is number 6, Banjo-Kazooie number 7, Wave Race 64 is number 8, Conker's Bad Fur Day number 9, and then number 10 is Mario Tennis. I was kind of surprised Mario Tennis was on there. I mean, it is tied with Mario Golf actually at 91. I think just for some reason one is, I don't know, higher than the other.
I mean, we always say you played the games that you had when you were a kid. Mario Tennis was really big in my house. It's one of those, like, I can't say I'm cracked at a lot of games, but like Mario Tennis is like my game. I absolutely always loved it. I felt like the mechanics of it were amazing. I liked how all of the characters kind of had their own physics. Like I always played as Boo, and Boo is very like floaty, and so is Paratroopa, because Paratroopa's like the flying character. So I just it was always a really big hit in my household. Speaking of which, I have to say really quick, if I've never told this story on the podcast, with Conker's Bad Fur Day, right? Very mature game, very rated M. I mean, it has themes that I can't even believe that Nintendo they got away with in that game. There is stuff in that. I just watched a dear friend of mine play it for the first time, and I watched the whole playthrough, and I mean, I couldn't again as an adult. The game did not age well whatsoever. But funny story, my parents bought that game for my young brother for Christmas. So I want to say he was like 11, and I remember like playing it, like we were playing it for like the first hour, and my poor parents, they were so mortified by the fact that they had purchased this for their child. Like, we had played Diddy Kong Racing, and Conker is a character, and he just looks like this little cute, like lovable squirrel. And then you play the game, and that is just so nothing that we can talk about on this podcast. But
it's interesting, like where did when was Conker introduced? It wasn't. Was it Diddy Kong Racing?
I believe so. I believe Diddy Kong Racing was the first time we ever saw Conker.
And he just cute little squirrel, right?
Just a cutesy little squirrel.
And nobody really knew anything about the character. And then they come out with Conker's Bad Fur Day. I never played. I don't really have an interest in playing it, I guess, right now. But I never played it. No real reason. I guess I never did. I just never got around to it. But no, I never played it. I just heard things about it.
I started playing it a little bit this year, and I went in thinking it'd be more like Donkey Kong 64 or Mario 64. And it's unique own animal.
Yeah.
Where I was not. So it was funny. It made me laugh, but it wasn't what I expected or what I wanted to play at the time. But now that I know what I'm getting into, the next time I give it a try, I think I'll be more ready. It's more like almost puzzle solving kind of.
A lot of it is, yeah.
Just knowing where to go, and like there's mini games. It's different. It's its own unique animal, which is fun.
I will say, like, my parents were pretty strict when we were growing up, and once they realized the absolute error they had made, somehow they just let us keep playing it. And my brother, who I think was 11 at the time, I think he's 31, like 20 years later, we still quote that game almost every time we are together. I swear to you, there was stuff in that game I completely forgot that those lines were even from the game. Like, we literally still to this day quote that awful game. It's pretty bad.
I've seen bits and pieces of it played, but I haven't played it. I remember seeing the going to Blockbuster and I was going to say downloading. No, looking at the shelves, and I came across it. I was like, huh, interesting. For such a cutesy character that I had only ever seen from Diddy Kong. Speaking of which, Diddy Kong is number 20. I don't know if we said that before, but Diddy Kong is number 20. It's a game everybody's played. It
deserves to be in the top 20, in my opinion. I think that Diddy Kong Racing really could almost give Mario Kart 64 a run for its money. It just was it was so fun. It had like missions and everything. Like, it definitely was a big one in my household for sure. And one of the best OSTs of all time.
Oh yeah, it's good. It's good.
I make you play it on your stream all the time, Pacho Taco.
there are songs from that game that will pop into my head. Periodically through, and I can't think of them right now. Otherwise, I would hum one or something like that. But there periodically, just throughout the day, I'll just have one that pops into my head for no reason, no rhyme or reason or anything, and it's just there. One game that's on this, it's number 12, and I played this game a lot. I really liked this. Was Rayman 2: The Great Escape? I believe it's called The Great Escape. Let me click this. It's The Great Escape. I actually played a lot of Rayman 2. That was a real fun game for me when I was young. It had a cool game cartridge that I think was it green or was it blue? I can't remember.
I think it was
one
blue.
of those colors.
I think it was blue. I never had it, but I think it was blue.
I remember it being like one of those like limited release games or something that had a different cartridge color. And it was cool. It was a great game. Pops, did you ever play Rayman 2, The Great Escape?
Oh, yeah. So the first time I played it was on the Dreamcast, and I love that game. I think I pretty much 100%ed it, and then the end boss made me so mad that I did not finish the end boss. So I did everything I could possibly do, and then I got to the end boss, and I gave up at that point. I want to go back and beat it.
Oh, that the end boss is the one where you have like the little rockets that you ride on that have legs, and they're running like they're running, and then eventually you can get them an upgrade where they'll just take off too, and you can fly. And yeah, I remember the end boss. It's big. He's big because of the flying aspect. There's like all these different chambers you have to go to fight him and stuff like that. Great game. We were talking about because it was number 12 on the list was Rayman 2, and it just reminded me of playing that game a lot. Now, there's one game on this list. There's actually two games that I'm like, I don't know what the heck these are. There's a game called I forgot about this. Beetle Adventure Racing. Did you guys ever play Beetle? You drive around in Beetle,
no.
the car. Everybody knows the Beetle car, right? You're just in Beetles, and you're adventure racing. You're like off-roading, and you're like jumping through waterfalls, but you're in Beetles,
like a Volkswagen Beetle.
Yes, yeah, and they're kind of tricked out where they have like numbers on the sides, like kind of race car-esque and stuff. And I remember playing and having a lot. I forgot about that game. That game was a lot of fun, actually.
I remember hearing like a ton of good things about it because like it's very arcadey. The shortcuts are fun to find.
Yep.
Like exploring, it's just overall just a good time. Those are my favorite type of racers. Like as soon as you get into simulation racing, I'm out. Have fun with that if that's your jam. I need an arcade style racer that controls easy. The power slides are fun, and I've heard so many good things about Beetle. I've never played it. My favorite racer on the 64 is Cruisin' USA.
Oh, so
super
good.
underrated. So much fun. Everyone enjoys that game because it feels like you're putting a quarter in your system because it's arcadey, it's fun.
Yeah.
I love you get to go to the next race if you get in the top 3. Those are like my favorite. I don't need courses. I don't need cups. Like I'll play the same course over and over again until I'm in the top 3, then let me move on.
There's actually a cruisin' game that they put out on Switch like a couple of years ago.
I got it.
Did you buy it?
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
That was fun. I think I only played it for one evening. I played it for like 5 hours straight. I had an absolute blast the entire time playing it, and then I didn't touch it again. But I needed something to scratch that that itch that I had for our super arcade racer.
It's so much fun, but it is very arcade because you could race perfectly and get last place and race terrible and get first place. The game makes no sense, but all you do know is that it's fun the entire time you play it.
Yep. Oh yeah, definitely. The other game that's on this top 20, I'm looking at this first page because it's the top 24 games. I never play this, Pops. I bet anything you've probably played this. WWF No Mercy.
I played a lot of the WCW games because back then WCW was bigger than WWF. And so it was WCW versus NWO, which was perfect arcade wrestling. They made it better with WCW Revenge, just refined things where B punches, A grabs, and that's pretty much all you need. Punch beats grab, and then like you can block a punch, then counter. Like it was super simple, really easy to control. At that point in time, the WWF games were really weird controlling and awkward. But then at some point, I think it was THQ made the games. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but then WWE was like, they make better games, so we'll take them from WCW. And then WC or WWF started doing those. So like WrestleMania 2000 took the A button grab, B button punch technique. And I assume No Mercy is either right after that, where they just mastered everything. along those lines. But that gameplay for that time, 4-player wrestling, that's 90s wrestling era where Stone Cold, The Rock, Mankind, you're talking the biggest wrestling has ever been. And so those games were a huge part of our childhood. We played them all of the time. So maybe not that one specifically, but I know WrestleMania 2000, Revenge, and just WCW versus NWO, we played a ton, which I assume that's the exact formula they used.
Yeah.
Probably similar. Yeah, probably similar. Other than that, this front page, it's all games that we've heard of and probably have played. They're a good list. But I was just thinking as we're talking here, the Nintendo 64 is such an interesting and weird time in gaming, right? It's the step into 3D. So naturally, a lot of the games don't age well because it's your first step into the 3D realm. And if you look back, like visually, a lot of those games are just at the time groundbreaking. And you look now and it's like, okay, yeah, it's just squares, like squares that are polygonal squares and stuff. They don't look good. Some of them have aged well. Some of them have had a lot of love thrown into them through like we were talking about Ship of Harkinian earlier, that really bring it up to playing it to modern standards quite nicely and making it very nice. A lot of quality of life things, control wise, have really improved things. But the N64 and I guess PlayStation 1 to a degree also just really interesting in the console lifespans or whatever you want to call it, cycles, if you will. Just because like N64 always has a perfect place in my heart, but like I don't really ever want to revisit many of those games like at all. Like there's maybe one or two where I'm like, okay, those are cool games. I wouldn't mind revisiting them. But like games back then that I loved, it's like I'm not going to play that. Whereas like GameCube, I can think of games like I'd love to replay some games on the GameCube. Wii has a couple. Wii U had a good small, but had some strong hits in there as well. And like Super Nintendo, everybody has a ton of games from there. But like N64 is the one, at least for me, where it's like, okay, maybe there's like two games that I might want to revisit, but I don't know. It just at the time I absolutely loved those games. Had so much, played many hours, but it just, I don't know, something about that era. And probably PlayStation 1 is similar in that degree as well.
I think you just have to be in the mood to see like the steps it took to get to where we are now. Mm-hmm. Because they tried so many different things that honestly were swings and misses. But I get into these moods where I love the swings and misses. Like, what were they thinking is almost fun to play. And so I'm kind of in that mood now. I'm playing a lot of Sega Saturn games. I'm playing a lot of Nintendo 64 games, just because there wasn't that blueprint of this is what's fun in 3D. They didn't know it yet. So they were trying absolutely everything. They were throwing stuff against the wall. And it's just, it's fun to see. And it makes you think outside of the box, because now there's very little, like we're so seasoned in the 3D, what's fun, that we know almost exactly what to do immediately. But back then, like, oh, we have to do this. This is ridiculous. I just finished like Goemon's Adventure on 64, and like some of that nonsense. Oh, so good. So janky. But like I've enjoyed it just because I'm in the mood to enjoy. Well, this is dumb. Mm-hmm. I can see why they don't do this anymore.
I'm curious, like those who didn't grow up with N64, what they'll think of that era. Will they have any interest? Kids born today. I mean, obviously, there will always be a retro scene for people out there, regardless of time, and there are people who appreciate it. But like, I'm curious, like, is there a kid out there today that like loves the N64? Because like you said, you appreciate the stepping stones of what it was to get where we are today. Which for our sakes, that right there is nostalgia right there, isn't it? Is like super cool in our own lives to see like that staple in gaming when everything changed and then went forward.
I think
that first stepping stone.
I think it's hard for kids to go back and look at it and see it through our eyes. I think it's very similar for like the Atari and Nintendo. So if you take a kid now and show them the Nintendo, which I think all of us here love, like we could show them Mario 1, one of the most universally loved games, and they're probably going to be like, this is crop. This is big time crop. And it's same with 64. It's like, this is the first time we're getting into this, and they're never going to look at the same. But then you look at the Super Nintendo, kids can go back and look at that and be like, this looks
Mhm.
good.
Mhm.
And I think it's the same thing with the GameCube. It's that first generation, like the Nintendo
Yeah.
and the Nintendo 64, where they're like, this looks ugly, but it's that next step. Super Nintendo still looks good. GameCube still looks good. And I think they can go back and look at those, but it's that first attempt of like, this is the very first of this kind of generation that they'll look back and be like, this looks like mush. This looks like mashed potatoes. Why are you playing a game about
Yeah.
mashed potatoes? Like, no, this is Ocarina of Time. It's the best game ever. You don't understand. We can walk into the background now. You see that pond? We used to not be able to go in there.
We can go
now
there.
I'm walking back on this Z axis. You have no idea. You noob. You have no idea. And there's secrets down there sometimes. You see a waterfall? Go in that. Video game code. There's a secret in that waterfall.
Like I couldn't disagree more. If I could only, but never mind, not modern consoles, but if I could only play one console for the rest of my life of the retros, it would be N64 all day long. That would be my forever console. If I could only play Ocarina of Time for the rest of my life, I think I'd be okay. Honestly,
I thought you were gonna say the 3DO for a second there. Road Rash, pretty good game. 3DO.
No, I did. I loved it. I mean, I definitely have the most gaming hours in my whole life in Ocarina of Time by far. So that console it was definitely a life-changing console for me. It really like solidified my love of it. Even though I played video games my whole life, like 64 was just like the console that really made me like not want to like go outside and play with my friends. Like I was just fine playing Ocarina
You're
of Time
my
or
friend now,
Majora's
Nintendo.
Mask.
Such a different time too, because like can you beat the Running Man? Like, can you get to the bottom of the Zora's domain to get the Triforce? Like, the internet was still, it was there, but relatively new still.
Mhm.
And like your imagination could run wild.
Yeah.
Because now we're in 3D, and now there could be anything anywhere. Like the hours I put trying to get over the waterfall in Mario 64 because there was secrets back there is like, I'm never going to do anything that stupid again, but like, I'll never forget that.
Right.
Like just trying to find like, oh, I could get you with the golden scale. You could almost get into that little crack of Ocarina of Time in the bottom of Zora's domain.
Yeah.
You could almost get there. And you're like, if you go with your friends and try it for 3 hours, like, and it's stupid, but like those are the memories that like I'll never forget. I love that stuff. And that was just the first of that era. It was such a soft spot.
I think for our last section here of this is the first episode of the year. We're gonna close it off with something that we kind of talked about earlier before when we were planning out the stream and everything. We talked about, you know what if we all listed out our own gaming pet peeves, and then let's see if we can maybe put together the official Arcade Parlor top 5 gaming pet peeves that are out there.
I got my list lined up.
Me
Video
too.
games
You got
have
your
been
list?
around forever, for like since the 70s, and they are still making these mistakes. And a lot of these mistakes, sometimes they appear in Mario Maker 2, so I'm an extra little bitter. Level creators put this in. But it blows my mind when they do this. And like, who is this for? Or at least toggle the option to not have this happen. And one of them is, I don't think it's their fault, but this is one of my favorite topics, because they still put this crop. I'm going to say crop a lot in video games, and no one likes it. Not a single person does, and they still do it. So I'm fired up about this list. I'm excited about it.
Why don't you start? You were the one who suggested that this would be a good segment. Why don't you start? Why don't you start us off here?
I'm going to start with
I have a spreadsheet here, so I can at least type these things out real quick, and we can try to order a top 5 off of it.
All right. I mean, my outside looking in, X-Men on Nintendo, that entire game is a pet peeve. Never play a terrible garbage game. But sorry.
On Nintendo.
My number 5 pet peeve, and it's number 5 because I'll get over it. It's actually in one of my favorite games. I just wrote down Navi/Radio Buddy. For like a long span of time, every game had someone that was following you around, either telling you exactly what to do, and that's fine. Or the radio buddy calling you like, hey, there's bad guys coming up. You're going to want to do this, this, and this. Like they can magically see you. That is like a tutorial, and make it so I have to call you if I want this information. Make it like, don't have it ring a bell. Don't do this thing on screen where my phone is ringing or there's this giant thing flashing where I have to do it just to get rid of it.
Right.
I do not want like Navi's fine if Navi is quiet and I hit up C only when I want to talk to Navi. But when it's forced down my throat or the radio buddy is constantly telling me exactly what to do, like I'm exploring here. I want to have fun. And then when I'm not having fun, then let me contact you. So the radio buddy's my number 5. It just, there's games, Mega Man X7, where it goes, hey, Mega Man, Mega Man, 0, 0. And you're like, what? This bad guy used to work for the armed forces. And you're like, I don't care, man. I don't care. I'm playing Mega Man. You yelled at me for 5 minutes and I finally gave in. And that's the nugget of honesty you give me, is a little bit of lore drop that, maybe it's just like I just played Mega Man X7 that this bugs me, but I just don't make me talk to you when I'm playing this game.
Yeah.
Only if I want to. So
Just let me play a game.
just let me
All right,
play
that's
the
number
game.
5. What else do you have?
Number 4 is unreasonably long life bars for enemies. So like beat 'em ups, if you have to punch a guy for like 20 minutes just to kill him, or specifically boss battles, when the boss battle, you've already seen everything the boss does. And now you're going to make me play this boss battle for 10 minutes straight just because the life bar is unreasonably long. There's only a few games, like Goemon did this a few times where I saw all of the patterns. It doesn't get harder. It doesn't change anything. It's just,
Keeps going.
keeps going. And like games that do it right, like I would assume Dark Souls, because the boss evolves. Like you get a quarter health down, then it's going to do something different. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking like RPGs will do this too. Like just keep doing what you're doing, but you have to do it for 20 minutes. Have fun.
Thanks.
Yeah. That one's number 4 for me. And
It's your number 3.
number 3 is, this one's personal, is 20 minutes of easy gameplay followed by one hard trick. And if you mess up that hard trick, you have to go back and do that 20 minutes of easy nonsense. I hate when levels are designed that way, where you go through, this is simple and it takes me 2 minutes to get through. This is not challenging whatsoever. And then now here's this pixel perfect trick that if you fail, you got to go back and do that walk of shame. Nintendo 64 was notorious for this. The walk of shame, where you go through and do all this easy stuff to get to the hard part. You're stuck, die right away because you don't know what you're doing. And now you have to go through and do all that easy stuff over again. There is nothing more infuriating. It is artificial difficulty, where if that trick was at the beginning, no problem. Hate that. It's the worst level design of all time, and it is never fun to do, to go through easy sections just to try and fail. And then I think this is universal: escort missions. Get it out of here. At no point has escorting someone been fun in a video game. No one has ever done it right, except for Sonic 2 with Tails.
Okay, yeah.
Because you can ignore it. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the only one that's ever been done right. Any other time I have to be responsible for more than myself, disaster. I'm not having fun. I lose because that redheaded girl in GoldenEye keeps getting shot from all angles. I'm trying to stay alive myself.
Is it Natalia
or whatever. And then Sheva from Resident Evil 5, you're minding your own business. And it's just Sheva! She's dead. I don't know what happened. Start over. Do the whole section over again. Do the easy stuff and then die because Sheva dies randomly. It's at no point. Mr. Bombs, for those who know my stream, can you guys name a single escort mission that has been a good time in a video game?
You were so frustrated that level. My God.
It's never fun. It's never fun to be responsible for another party in a video game that is not self-sustaining.
Sure.
They sustain Ashley, Resident Evil 4. Oh my goodness. Please, Ashley. Please.
They made her better in the remake. That's all I'll say. The escort aspect of her was tremendously improved.
Yes or no question. Is it more fun when she's not around?
Yes.
So why have her in the first place? Put her in there. Why? I don't know. I hate escort missions in any video game ever, and they still insist on putting them in. They still protect this car while it slowly drives down the street. No! I'm trying to keep me alive. And then the number one biggest pet peeve that you will turn off the game and never play it again is if you lose a save.
Man.
That's it. If you lose a save, like you've saved your game, you go back, the file gets corrupted. You're never playing that game again.
It's
everybody's gone through it.
Yeah.
Everybody's gone through it.
Absolutely.
So those are my 5. I think the big one there is just escort missions and losing a save. They kill me, man. Ashley,
let's hear what you have.
All right, I got 5 for you. I'll start with the bottom, number 5, which is pretty much the same as what Pop said. It's kind of like 2 in 1. 2 long tutorials, but that literally give you step-by-step instructions on how to beat the game, or constant tutorials where every 5 seconds you stop and it's like, hey, did you know that on this next part you're gonna see this thing and you have to press this button and then you have to press this button and that's exactly how you beat it. And like, it's always the games that are like the parts that aren't even that hard, like where they stop you. And like as we go along in like gaming history, the more we progress to like the year 2024, the more they do it and the more they walk you through and the more they tell you what to do. You know, there was no pop-up in Mario 3 that told you how to fly. You figured it out, you know? And so like these like storybooks of like, here is how you beat the game, especially when it pops up over and over and like you're in the middle of something and then like your immersion just completely goes away because like it's like without even a choice, it's just like, stop. Here's everything that you have to do right now. And here's where you're going to go and what you're going to do and who this person is. And it's just like, let me figure it out for myself.
The worst part is too, after they do that, the one time you do need their help, they're like, figure it out.
Yes.
Like, you jerk.
How do I get that prompt to come back up?
I know.
I turned off my brain this entire game. And now that I see these 3 random switches, I have no idea what to do with. They're like, tough puzzle, isn't it? It's like, thanks, Navi. You serious right now, Clark? That's like, they do it all the time. Oh.
All right, long tutorials. What's next? Number 4.
Number 4 is the one. So when we had said we were going to do our pet peeves before the podcast had started, I said I had one, and I said I bet you Pancho Taco has this one on his list too. My number 4 is long text dialogue that when you skip to the end, it defaults to the button being repeating the dialogue. And you know what I'm talking about. Ocarina of Time, the freaking owl. It
rotates.
Yep. And you just get to the ending and you think you're pressing the cancel button. And it's like, did you want to hear that again? And it defaults to yes. It defaults to yes.
It's the original troll, because sometimes it's like, did you get all that? And you say yes. And the next time's like, do you want to hear it again? You're like, yeah, yes. I got all that. It's like,
we got you. I will say, we talked about quality of life improvements. Ship of Harkinian lets you flip a switch that defaults it to no on your playthrough.
It does.
They actually went through. That's how annoyed everybody is. Developed to reverse engineered it, give you a switch to default it to no.
That's so good. That's a great one. I got to change my list. The trickery. They're worse than Mario Maker troll creators. That one right there. There's some jerk. I wonder, like, is that the same in the Japanese version? I wonder, or is there just some localizer who's like?
That's my 4. Number 3. Too few characters to name your character in a game. Too few characters given. Like in your, I was watching someone play Chrono Trigger the other day and they were able to name a character and you have 5 letters. What are you going to do with 5? I mean, there's lots of funny words you could put with 5 letters, but if you're trying to put your name, that's all we get. It's 5 letters? Come on now. There's Zelda games where they only give you a few characters. Like, come on, man.
That's a good one. Mike is safe. I'm cool.
That is good.
I know you guys
David
are safe.
just sneaks in.
David, Mike, both safe. Ashley, there's some games where I can't even get the second E in there.
It's funny you say that because my name on I think the Switch is Cheese Pop.
Yeah,
Because
you didn't get
there's
that
just-
one
there's
last
not
one.
enough.
As it is.
The lure it drops. It's like, all right, wait, look, we have the technology at this point in time,
Right?
Nintendo. We have the technology.
So my 1 and 2 kind of go together. So I'm gonna say one of them, and then I'll say the other. I'll say them together. My number 2 is cutscenes that are too long, and I'm gonna go with a specific example here. Kingdom Hearts 3. I could not get through Kingdom Hearts 3. The cutscenes killed me. It was like watching a movie. Some of them were minutes long and they were boring, and I just didn't care. Which goes along with my number 1. My number 1 pet peeve in gaming is when you have a game that has cutscenes that you have already watched, if you die or whatever, and you can't skip them.
Masterful list.
Thank you.
That's the worst.
Thank you. That is my number
good.
1 by far, when you have a cutscene that either doesn't matter or that you've already seen and you cannot skip it.
Unless it's a Zelda game, you need to watch those again. That's fine. Every other game, not allowed to do it. Zelda, we got you, Link.
All right, we have your top 5, Ashley. I have 4 to give for this. I think it's 4. Yes,
Underachiever.
The four that I have. Let's keep it with the cutscenes thing. You need when you boot up a game and it has a cutscene in it, you never know if you're safe to hit start or not and pause it. Let us pause during a cutscene,
I
please,
love that.
and not accidentally skip over literally everything and then be like, "What's going on in the story? I skipped I skipped all this lore. Like, why is this guy attacking me now?" We've all been there where we accidentally hit a button and skipped a cutscene.
Do you home key now? I home key if I'm not sure. I just hit home and
I think I still hit start. I think I still hit
just
start.
risk it.
Yeah.
Poncho doesn't have time.
Let us pause a cutscene.
Love it.
Games been doing it for many generations now. Some games are not doing it still. Let us pause during a cutscene.
It's a good one.
Another thing, this is something I just realized a couple weeks ago because I played a game that had this that I hated immediately. During a sequence of dialogue, not letting us move the camera at all. Like if you're sitting there, you're looking at somebody, usually you can I don't know, I like to just sit there and spin the camera in 100 different directions while I'm reading the dialogue or something like that. Or even in a Mass Effect, for example, you can look at the character, but you can kind of move the camera a little bit, even though they kind of stay centered and focused. I played one game where you could not move the camera at all during a dialogue scene, and I didn't realize how annoying that was. How much that drove me nuts in modern gaming, not being able to do that. And I was like, I don't want to play this game anymore. There's cutscenes like this throughout it, and I literally can't even nudge the camera or anything. I don't know. It was something that really bugged me playing this game. So that's number 2. Number 3 kind of go hand in hand. Forced walking sequences. Why are we being forced to walk extremely slow while Marcus Phoenix is talking on his little earpiece to Anya, and he's walking at snail's pace? There's wars going on, and he's like, okay, let me just walk real slow here down this hill here, and you can't go any faster. Forced walking sequences are the worst. Let us walk at a good pace, please.
That never bugged me before, but now it's gonna bug me to no end. Now that I'm thinking about why am I moving slow here? Just let me go.
Yeah. Forced walking sequences.
What about combining that with an escort where you can't, if you run too fast, you have to loop around and you just start circling around the idiot?
That was my next one. Is your walking speed does not match an NPC that you're supposed to be walking with. Now, some games have fixed this. I think Rockstar has corrected this. They're just hold down A to match speed, which is great. Like in Red Dead 2. I think The Witcher 3 corrected that too, where you could just, as long as you're within the vicinity holding down A, you would match their speed. Whether they were running, whether they were walking, you would just match their speed. So they fixed that. So that's the other thing that goes with the forced walking sequences. Just movement in general is speeds not matching. Like, I don't want to like be managing my speed while I'm also like paying attention to what people are saying. So those are my top 4 things that I have in particular there.
Okay.
That's a good list. I think we all like you guys brought up stuff I wouldn't have thought of. They're like, yeah, that's why are they still doing this? Nobody likes this. I almost wanted to include water levels, but once in a blue moon,
There's a good one.
They're like swimming as a Zora in Majora's Mask, kind of fun. You know, it's good. You can jump, you can swim good, but 99% of the time, swimming in any video game is terrible. While playing in space is somehow fun, which I don't even want to get into the logic of that. It makes no sense because it's the same exact thing, but the black background with little dots makes it more fun for some reason. Donkey Kong?
I enjoyed
Decent
the water
water
levels.
levels.
I enjoyed them
The
in Donkey
tunes
Kong
help
1,
a lot.
Country 1.
Sometimes
like
they
them.
have it.
They do have good tunes, but yeah, I don't like it. Keep the
I don't
water
think I've
levels away.
ever played a good Mario water level where I've been like,
I like SMW.
yay.
I like
No.
SMW
Just-
water levels. No,
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 not for me.
no.
I'll stay on this island alone.
Yeah, but I know like some people like them. Another weird pet peeve for me is online video games booting people out when it's a friend's room. Like, I get it if I'm playing with random strangers, but if me and my buddies are playing Mario Golf, I have exactly 1 minute to use the restroom, and I am running in there. And I come out, and like 50% of the time, I've been booted, can't join back in.
Yeah.
Because
I know
like,
what
oh,
you mean.
this guy's idle. It's because I'm peeing, man. Miyamoto, calm down. Like, this is a friend's room. These are not strangers, Miyamoto.
That makes sense.
Going back to the water thing, it's different. Like when it's a level in a game, if the game is based around a water thing, that's different. I'm okay with that. Like right now, I'm playing Dave the Diver. I'm having a great time. It's when the game's main focus is not water traversal, water hazards, water everything. That's when I'm like, nobody wants to play this level. Can I just zoom to the end? I just want to beat this. But if the game is intended to be where the water is an element to the game, then I'm fine with it. Because usually they've honed in the controls, they've honed in the hazards, everything that I like, or everything that builds a good game. They've honed it all around, centered around being in the water. So that's a little different, a different aspect, at least, right there.
I've seen water done right. I have never seen, other than Sonic 2 and Tails, escort missions done right.
Agree.
It just, at no point in any video game has that been more fun than what happened before and what happened after. At no point. I think that's my new number one. It's miserable every single time.
I think the other thing I'll comment on is long cutscenes. It depends on the game, of course. If they're long and boring, which we've all sat there, it's like, yeah, get them over with. But there are games. I can think of one in particular that has a world record in longest cutscene at like an hour and 15 minutes.
Is it Metal Gear?
The game's really good. Yeah, Metal Gear Solid 4. It's like a 75-minute cutscene or something like that. But that game, but the cutscenes are wild and whack. They're crazy, and you don't even know what you're watching half the time. But it's just spectacular to watch them. And those ones it depends on the game. I've been through many games. You said Kingdom Hearts 3, I think you said.
Yeah.
I've never played a Kingdom Hearts. I don't have an interest in a Kingdom Hearts ever. From what I've seen of those games,
yeah,
no, not for me. But yeah, I could.
You take 3 steps and it's a 3-minute cutscene. You take 5 more and then it's a 2-minute cutscene. And you take 1 swing of the sword, it's a 10-minute cutscene. I couldn't do it. I tried.
Metal Gear Solid is like the upset of the century for me because I got it on GameCube, the Twin Snakes, and like I am a huge gameplay guy. Don't care about story for the most part. Give me the gameplay. And I remember the first 10 minutes I'm playing this game, I'm like, well, this is hot garbage. It moves weird. Shooting is boring. This is so dumb. About an hour into the game, I'm like, this is not getting better. About 2 hours into the game, like, I love this game. This game makes no sense. This is insanity. And it has nothing to do with the gameplay. It's just, it's an interactive movie and it is a ton of fun. And like, I guess that I didn't realize, it's easier to realize now, but a lot of the games that dude did beforehand, think there's one on like Sega CD Snatcher. It's almost like a text adventure. And it's a long cutscene of a game. And he's like, oh, let's do that, but with, stealth and stuff. And so
Right.
I get it. And if you've never played Metal Gear and you're going in thinking you're getting some hot gameplay, you're going in mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
It is very...
The gameplay is like 40% of what you're going in there for in reality.
It's all the story.
Yeah.
It's the voice acting. It's the story. It's the nonsense. It's can love blossom on the battlefield. Like, dude, I just got shot at, and you're asking me this question right now. It's like, all right. Thanks, Otacon.
So Arcade Parlor's top 5 definitive video game pet peeves. Of the ones you guys have given me, I'll throw one out there that I think deserves to be on this list, and that is I think long tutorials needs to be on there. Long tutorials with unnecessary amount of information of how to play the game.
Agree.
Those can both. I think you combine those both in your same statement, but I agree that both of those should be in there. Long tutorials. So I'm gonna write this long tutorials as number in the top 5 at least.
Okay.
Long tutorials with way too much explanation of how many pushing A. Like when you legitimately tell me to push A to do this, like come on.
I like that as number 5 because it's not game breaking, but also like, come on now. We have the technology not to be doing this.
Yep. What else do you guys think? Anybody else want to throw out their one for top 5? It has to be on this list, basically.
Escort missions for me. That's the only hill I have to die on. Like
I think that has a place on here.
I agree.
It's never fun. That's the hill. As long as it's on the list, I'm cool. I liked yours better than my the rest of my list. I like your guys' one.
What else do you guys think that needs to be on this list?
For me, it was my 2 that I think are really deserve a spot would be not being able to skip either unnecessary or already watched cutscenes. I loved yours where you can't pause during a cutscene. That one was really great. That one was really, really great. I think that one of those should go on there.
Could we just consolidate and call it cutscene etiquette? Like, let's have a little cutscene etiquette. Nothing too long. Let me pause it. Let me skip it if I want to. This is my game. Just have a little etiquette when it comes to your cutscenes.
Yeah, I think so. I think we can encase both of those. Nobody wants a cutscene that you got to watch 200 times over, and nobody wants to skip information by mistake.
What is a man?
My other one was defaulting to repeated dialogue. That was
fun. It's such a jerk move.
It is. It is a jerk move.
What was Poncho's again?
I had forced walking. Walking not matching the NPC. You can't move a camera at all during dialogue. And then, of course, the no pausing cutscenes.
No pausing. Yeah, I like the you can't skip or the trickery to go back to the cutscene. You know, to go back and re-listen to everything is beautiful. I think we have a good list. Like, there's something we're missing on there. And like losing a save, I don't think is like... That's almost a different list. That's almost just, it's not anyone's fault. That just stinks. It happens.
Yeah.
That's just technology error. Man, it's tough.
Right. I mean, I would be cool with a Navi / radio buddy who keeps interrupting you.
Yes.
I don't think it does. It's not necessarily a tutorial. It's somebody who thinks that they need to tell you something. Or they're going to hold your hand way too much. Like I've heard that's one of the big complaints about like the new God of War, for example, is that Atreus, your son, tells you within like 5 minutes of looking at or within like 30 seconds looking at a puzzle, he's like, why don't you go look over here? You know, the annoying buddy that keeps interrupting your flow in the game.
Yeah, like forced hints or like forced hint alerts.
Just gameplay interruptions when there's no need for this. Why are you interrupting me right now?
Interruptions by NPCs.
Yeah.
By NPCs.
Love it.
By a buddy NPC.
I love it. Perfect.
That's good.
No one
That's
likes
a good
it.
four.
Right. So so this is actually all 5 here. This is all 5.
good.
Here.
Okay.
Let me list this out. I think we're all happy with this. For our listeners as well, I'll list this out. In no particular order, these are the top 5 long tutorials that tell us way too much information on how to play a game. Escort missions. Cutscene etiquette, and we know cutscene etiquette means not being able to pause during a cutscene, as well as
Not being able to skip if you already saw.
not being able to skip. Yes, if you've already seen it, correct. Defaulting to a repeated dialogue option, and then your gameplay gets interrupted by a buddy NPC repeatedly.
Love it.
To tell you something that you don't really care about.
I would like to submit we shift out the trickery going back and hearing the whole dialogue for not having enough spaces in the name. Because that actually bothers me more, I think. Because Ashley was on to something. Like, give me more space. That is the simplest most. We have the technology.
You know, when I was reviewing these, my eyes skipped over that one for some reason. That is actually a pretty good one.
I like that because like sometimes you get 3. Name your hero. Well, he's going to have to be Ted. Ted the hero, because I have exactly 3 spaces and I'm a little girl and I'm devastated. Are there any little girl names that have 3 letters?
Ash,
I don't know.
Jen.
Meg. Yeah, Jen and Meg are living the dream, but the rest of the little girls out there have to be Ted. It's ridiculous.
Oh man.
Either like name your hero's initials or don't even give me the option if you're going to give me that little spaces to do it. I like that one. I like that one.
That's a solid swap. I'm okay with that.
We're swapping that one with which one again?
The default to repeated dialogue.
Okay.
That one does stink. What's almost funny though, I have yelled at my TV.
I know.
What? No!
Would you like to hear that again?
All right. There are our top 5. We'll post this in the Discord if people want to refer to this. What we would consider the top 5 worst gaming pet peeves. With that, we're going to start winding down the episode here. We've been on here for a while. Let's go ahead and let's do self promos here. Let's go ahead and do a self promo. If you, for anybody who's coming here maybe for the first time, we always like to take a little time here to talk about ourselves, what we're doing on the internet. If there's some place that you can promo ourselves, it's a good place like this. You can see what we're doing coming up here as well. Also, for our listeners, we do offer email and voicemail and text message. Also, if you guys have a question or a topic you want us to discuss, there's a number of ways to contact us. Our email address is email@arcadeparlorcast.com. Our phone number is 402-915-1082. You can call that. It'll go directly to voicemail. We'll play your voicemail on the podcast here, and we'll respond to it. You can also text that number if you want, and we can get that on here as well. With that said, let's go ahead and do the promos here. Ashley, what do you have going on? Tell us about yourself.
You can find me at twitch.tv/Ashley with 2 E's _FL. I'm streaming Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday nights, and Sunday afternoons now. I'm also putting out daily content now on my YouTube of the same name. And if you want to find me on TikTok, it is Ashley with 2 E's _Florida, all spelled out.
Pops, what about you?
Cheese Pops, a lot of extra P's in there. You'll know it when you find it. Go to the YouTube. Yeah, like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Tell me I'm bad. You know, the YouTube's dying, man. I need your help. Help me. Is that good? Did I promo that well? Probably should have said it's dying. You know, it's super successful. Oh, the website. Yeah, cheesepops.com. Make sure you do the right amount of P's or you're going to go somewhere you don't want to go. It's not true. I'm doing a terrible job of promoing this. Get out of here. Poncho, you're up. Get me off. Get me off.
Poncho Taco. You can find me twitch.tv/Poncho Taco. Or you can just go to my ponchotaco.com has everything on there too. I don't know. I have a link tree up there that has everything. Go check it out there. Anything coming up here? This coming a week from today of recording. Ashley will be here in Michigan. for an IRL stream.
Yes.
We have a lot of things planned. That's going to be awesome. The date on that, for those listening who are not able to get here on the recording, is January 20th. We're going to be starting at 5 p.m. Eastern, going until 1 a.m. Eastern on the 21st. So it's going to be a long stream. We're going to have a lot of fun that evening. We have a lot of things planned, so mark your calendars. It's going to be an absolute blast during that time. Ashley, you ready? We got snow. We got snow.
You and I have been planning this for months now. Months and months. We have so much stuff to do. I cannot believe the things I have agreed to do on the stream. You do not want to miss it. I'm excited, not so much for the snow and the cold weather that I will be flying into next weekend, but it'll be my first time ever meeting anybody from Twitch IRL. Ponch has been my friend for over 3 years, so I'm very excited to do this IRL stream.
It's going to be awesome. Tune in if you're not there. And also, everyone here, if you're listening to this live, or if you're watching, or if you're listening to it on your podcast apps, make sure you follow each one of us. We're on multiple times during the week. Lot of good, fun times to be had there. Would love to see any of you come by in any capacity that you're able to. With that said, this has been episode 17. Thank you for tuning in. We'll catch you next time. Peace out. See you guys later.
Bye.
No escort missions.